Sometimes we overlook how our image affects how people think of us. Even small things we overlook, like not brushed teeth, dirty clothes, bad eye contact, and much more gives a lasting impression on us, especially if you don't know the person. So that's why you always need to make sure you are as presentable as possible all of the time. And we will be back with tips and tricks on this exact topic right after our introduction. Hey guys, it's me, Davis Knight. Welcome back to episode 153 of The Davis Knight Show. And if you're new here, we always start off with the main topic of the episode, what we like to call You Issues, which is, you guessed it, where today we will discuss how our overall image affects the impression we give off to others. So without further ado, it's You Issue time. Imagine this. There are two kids being interviewed by the principal to be accepted into a new school. The principal can only choose one. The first student walked in with clothes that looked like he'd been jumping around in muddy puddles with imaginary Peppa Pig, didn't brush his teeth in a week, was barefoot, and stared at a light bulb the entire time. The second student looked well-dressed, had washed his face, did an extensive teeth care routine, had professional shoes and socks on, made perfect eye contact, and did a mix of listening and asking questions. Which one would you choose if you were the principal? Of course you would choose the second student because they looked more professional and more respectable. Even if the first one was 10 times smarter, came from a rich family who would give the school a lot of money, got perfect test scores, and have the potential to graduate with an honors, it's not always about that. Sometimes your appearance is worth much more because others can immediately see and believe it with their own eyes. Sometimes I even struggle and need to work on this too. And I believe just taking a look in the mirror or reflecting on how you look and what we say can do a lot for all of us. Before you walk out the door, do a fit check because sometimes we don't think about what others see out of us. Trust me, I have heard plenty of stories of people not getting jobs or not getting into schools just because of how they looked. We should not only do this because of others, but another big factor is self-respect. Don't believe me? Here is a quote to back this up. One should always look presentable and well-dressed, not out of vanity, but out of respect for oneself, for others, and the moments that matter. So here's the challenge for this week. Before leaving your house for anything, work, school, a fancy dinner, or generally doing anything, look in the mirror and ask yourself the following. If someone were to judge me by my appearance, would they be given a good or bad impression? Have I done the best to look good? If my best friend saw me like this, would they be proud to be my best friend or disappointed in me? Will how I look right now increase or hurt my reputation? I will try asking myself all of these too. Also, I'd like you to let me know how you did in the comments below. And that concludes our You Issue. But don't click off just yet. There's still fun things along the way, such as news, trivia, jokes, tech tips, and much more. So stay tuned. Next up is, what in the world will we discuss all things news? First is some sciencey news. In New Jersey, a meteorite that crashed into a home allegedly has extraterrestrial amino acids, which is, in my opinion, crazy. And personally, I don't believe it. It's just one meteor, but if we can gather more evidence in the future, that would be really cool. Next up, scientists have discovered a living plastic using bacteria to break itself up in just 6 days while leaving behind nothing. Compared to other plastics, which can remain for 20 to 500 years and is not autonomous at all, this is crazy. Even crazier, if a human isn't alive, full decay can often take years. This is really cool, and I think it would make for some cool inventions in the future. Next up is some current event news. Last Saturday on July 11th, after a trip to Ukraine with Volodymyr Zelensky, Senator Lindsey Graham unexpectedly in his house had a medical emergency and passed away. Upon the news, President Trump on Sunday asked for all flags to be at half-mast, and also asked that the governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, appoint Lindsey Graham's sister, despite having no previous experience in politics, being a doctor. But nevertheless, Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene Graham, took Lindsey Graham's seat and is an acting senator of South Carolina. Next, President Trump on Thursday night at 9 p.m. addressed the nation about integrity of our elections, disclosed China messed with the 2020 elections, and lastly, urged the Senate that unless you want to cheat, you pass the SAVE Act. If you don't know what that is, it is a bill that requires people to show their ID in order to register to vote, and it is common sense. I don't care if this comes off as offensive. I'm going to say it to anyone who's listening and opposes this act. 3 words. 1, use. 2, your free brain. Use your brain. Like, come on now. The craziest part is that ABC and NBC didn't broadcast the president because they didn't like that he was talking about election integrity and practiced blatant censorship by refusing to air it. Lastly, on July 8th, RFK Jr. and Dr. Mehmet Oz launched the Make Hospital Food Healthier Pledge, which focused on exactly that, making hospital food healthier. Because contrary to popular belief, hospital food is highly processed and cheaply made, and it is also, from personal experience, disgusting. But now, Tampa General Hospital is the first hospital to sign the pledge. Now that I have gave you a lot of information, I think you might need to use information. So that is why it is trivia time. Keep in mind, these questions are all unrelated to anything said in this episode. Let's get started. Question 1 is U.S. history themed. How many U.S. cities and towns are named Springfield? A, 38, B, 41, C, 22, or D, 56. I'm going to give you a minute to think. Okay, the correct answer is B. There are 41 Springfields across the U.S., some of which have multiple in one state, which likely causes a lot of conflicts. Thank goodness for zip codes. Otherwise, it would be impossible to get anything mailed. There's already a lot of confusion about this name, especially considering it's the second most common in America. Question 2 is Florida themed. What year was St. Augustine incorporated? A, 1501, B, 1565, C, 1495, or D, 1572? I'm going to give you a minute to think. Okay, the correct answer is B. St. Augustine was incorporated in 1565. Question 3 is technology themed. What year was Apple founded? A, 1972, B, 1976, C, 1978, or D, 1981? I'm going to give you a minute to think. Okay, the correct answer is B. Apple was released on April 1st, 1976. Question 4 is gaming themed. Before creating the popular gaming arcade Chuck E. Cheese, Nolan Bushnell founded a gaming company. What was it? A, Atari, B, Nintendo, C, Namco, or D, Sega? I'm going to give you a minute to think. Okay, the correct answer is A. The founder of Chuck E. Cheese previously founded Atari. Question 5 is technology themed. When did Bill Gates step down as Microsoft CEO? A, 2000, B, 2020, C, 1987, or D, 2005? I'm going to give you a minute to think. Okay, the correct answer is A. 2000 is when Bill Gates stepped down. And that concludes our trivia. How many did you get right? Now time for the fun stuff. Are you ready to smile? Drum roll, please. Joke of the week. What was the smartphone's favorite thing they studied? Any guesses? Cellular biology. Ha ha, get it? Cellular. Now time for the tech tip. This one is for parents, and I think it's essential for all parents to be aware of it. If you're like my mom, you are all over looking on what's on your kid's device. Us kids know this, and a common way that a lot of kids hide things is by downloading what is called a Volt app. They come in many different forms. For example, most commonly, the calculator disguise. This trick is downloading an app disguised as a calculator, but when a pin is entered in the calculator, it opens up a vault of photos, notes, and much more. Some of these apps are so sophisticated they have panic alerts. For example, when you shake the screen, it changes. Other Vault apps even allow you to use multiple different social media and texting platforms without others seeing you have the app, like an app inside of the app. So if you notice one of these, either delete it or demand the code to see what they have been doing. Because most of the time, the most concerning part, most kids have these Volt apps is because they are worried their parents will worry or jump to conclusions about something. But it often starts from this, and before they know it, turns into them doing something bad. So be aware, take a closer look at what apps your child has, and check their screen time to make sure they're not spending their days on a calculator app. Because if they are, that is very suspicious. Before we close down this episode, I'd like to let you know I have partnered with Advent Health, a nonprofit hospital, to work with them on their Be a Mind Leader campaign, which focuses on destigmatizing children's mental health. And a way you can make an impact is by donating. To donate, please go to www.thedavisnightshow.com, and then under the About Us section, you will see the link to donate. And if you can't donate, depending on the platform you are on, rating and reviewing my podcast, plus following the podcast or subscribing on YouTube helps a lot. Okay, that's it. Now go and have a great day and make sure to smile. Bye, everyone.